special poses. So in this tutorial, we're going to use some of the things we've seen in the other tutorials about center of gravity, line of gravity, base of support, so forth, to look at a variety of different poses. So here's an example. The character is carrying a heavy backpack, and we can tell that it's a heavy backpack by the fact that the character has to lean forward in order to keep the combined total center of gravity of himself and the backpack over his base of support. Here's a similar example. One character is carrying another one. And one thing we learn from this pose is that Alex the lion and Marty the zebra seem to have about the same weight because Alex has to lean forward to a significant angle in order to keep their combined center of gravity, which is roughly in between them. If Alex had a lot more weight, then his center of gravity would be the combined center of gravity would be closer to him. But if they have a similar weight, then the combined total center of gravity is about halfway between them. And it looks like from the line of gravity, that's probably what it is. Here we see two characters as well. They both have at least one. She has 1 foot on the ground. He has both feet on the ground. So they have a combined base of support, which is the perimeter around both of his feet and her toe. And then they have a combined center of gravity, which is located roughly between them if they have the same weight. It's a little bit closer to him if he weighs a little bit more. And then that total center of gravity leads to a center of pressure, which, if this is a balanced pose, then it's inside of their combined base of support. Now, if he lets go, then she is not going to be in balance because it's clear that her center of gravity is nowhere near her base of support of her toe. He's probably going to be okay if he lets go of her. His center of pressure seems to be under his base of support even without the contribution of hers. We see from these poses that the character, the ball that this character is lifting, must be a light ball, something like a beach ball. So from these poses, the character doesn't really have to lean to any significant degree, and so here, this last pose, she's holding the ball, and the total center of gravity seems to be almost entirely due to her weight, that the weight of the ball is negligible. So we know that even if this character was extremely strong and able to hold a very heavy ball in her hands, this would not be possible and maintaining balance, because if the ball was very heavy, then the combined center of gravity would be shifted in front of her toes, and she would be out of balance. Now, in these poses indicate that the character is lifting a heavy water bottle. So in order to keep the total center of gravity over her feet, she has to be leaning back in these poses. So something like this fellow. Now, even without lifting weights, when we bend over, it's not possible to simply bend straight from the hips. We have to move the hips backwards, because if you simply bend directly from the hips, then the center of gravity will quickly be positioned in front of your toes. So if you want to touch your toes, you need to shift your rear end backwards, as we see in these illustrations. A more complicated example is rising from a chair. So the character rising from the chair eventually needs to have the center of gravity just over their feet. While they're in the chair, they have a base of support that includes the part where they're in contact with the chair. But as they're rising, one thing that they can do is increase the base of support by shifting one foot under the chair. They also want to lean forward to bring the center of gravity closer to the perimeter around the feet. So you don't want to stand up in the chair by simply standing straight up, but you want to lean forward. As the character continues to lean forward, if the chair has arms, they can extend their base of support by including the arms, in which case it's the perimeter around the feet and the hands. But then once the character is standing, again, it probably needs to be leaning forward until the center of gravity is well positioned over the feet, and then just transitions into a walk. Now, having said this, it's possible to rise from a chair and not have every single pose be in balance. If you push quickly enough, then you can rise out of the chair and be out of balance, but by the time you reach your apex, you can be have your center of gravity over your feet, in which case you would not fall back down. However, if you don't rise quite fast enough, then you could come up and then fall back down. So the point is that not every single pose would necessarily have to be in balance. Now, balance is rather difficult if you have a narrow base of support. For example, if you have one foot in front of another, as in this photo. And in cases like this, the natural thing to do is to raise the arms to try to maintain balance, and having the arms up above onto the sides allows you to quickly shift your center of gravity to keep it over the base of support just by moving your arms back and forth. We'll see more about recovering balance by moving the arms in another tutorial. Even more difficult is standing on just one foot, because you have to make sure that the center of gravity is directly over that foot. So in these examples, we see the characters have to carefully control their pose. Using the arms, holding them to the side helps. And in this third case, it looks like this fellow actually is not in balance, and that's why the police have stopped him. Here's another example of standing on one foot. If you are at the edge of a cliff and need to reach forward as far as possible, well, in order to extend your arm as far past the edge as possible, the natural thing to do is to lift one of the legs and stretch it to the opposite side, and that helps keep the center of gravity over the base of support, and then also lift up the other arm in order to make rapid adjustments to the positioning of the center of gravity. And you can analyze all sorts of different poses using these ideas. One example would be defensive poses, like we see with this character. So defensive poses, typically the feet are wide apart to have a large base of support. Crouching lowers the center of gravity and improves stability, making it easier to keep the center of gravity over the base of support. Holding the arms out allows for rapid shifts in the center of gravity. So all of these different elements add to the visual look that this is a very stable pose. So in summary, when a character is trying to stay in balance while carrying a heavy weight, they typically lean in such a way as to keep the center of pressure inside the base of support. In other words, the center of gravity above the base of support, so the line of gravity down from the center of gravity touches the base of inside the base of support. When one character holds another, then we consider the two of them as, say, as if it was a combined character, and then we consider them to have a total center of gravity and a total base of support if they have multiple feet on the ground. Raising the arms allows for quick repositioning of the center of pressure in order to maintain balance, and spreading the feet wide apart increases the base of support, and that adds to a more stable pose that's easy to keep in balance. So in the next few tutorials, we'll talk about recovering balance and also the concept of dynamic balance, balance associated with motion. So see you then.